lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, back with me again, my awesome co-host.
I'm Manny.
And we are back with another episode of the Weekly Pull, talking about our picks of the week. This week was fucking massive.
Yeah, it was pretty big, bro.
I think it's the last 2 weeks have been huge, but it's funny because I guess next week there's like barely any DC coming out, like the smallest week from DC in a very long time. So hopefully that'll save my wallet a little bit. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Couple number ones I want to talk about. We got four books that we've already talked about that are returning.
My pick, it's actually a returning book. Actually, I realized before we recorded that almost, or at least all of mine are books that I've already talked about. But hey, that's not a bad thing. It means that I've kept up with each series, and they've delivered past the initial pull, if you will. First off the bat is the second issue of The Adventures of Superman John Kent by Tom Taylor, who's quickly becoming one of my favorite writers, let me tell you. And I always, the artist on this issue... Clayton Henry, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's funny, this was my pick. Number one was my pick, and now number two is yours. I just realized that. So it is a returning one, but it flip-flopped with...
Oh,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the book, but go ahead.
But this picks off right from what we left the first issue on. John Kent is dealing with... Basically, Ultraman is going around and he's been killing Supermen from different dimensions in an effort, I guess, just to wipe out Superman from the multiverse, right?
Yeah.
So John's dealing with that, and then he got visited by a red tornado that was Lois Lane, and also the Superman that was, I believe he's president on his Earth also, isn't he?
Yeah.
On Earth 2, yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, no. This is not President Superman.
It's not President Superman.
Yeah, this is Val Zod, so it's a different...
Val Zod, okay, it's different. Okay, I'm not super up on my multiverse Superman.
I get confused too sometimes. I mean...
But basically, Val and Lois, come to John, and they're telling him that, that this has been going on. When all of a sudden, Ultraman does attack, and he beats the living crap out of everybody very quickly. And then he's going to use the Phantom Zone projector, and it seems to sort of like finally take out John. And we get the oh shit moment of the comic, which I think was one of the best moments. And spoiler alert: right when Ultraman's about to kill Jonathan Kent, someone grabs Ultraman from behind and snaps her neck. And Lord and behold, who is it? But it is the Superman from the Injustice universe. So, we all knew this was going to be heading in this direction based on the title alone and the solicitation, So it's really not a surprise or a spoiler. But I want to say that what hooked me with the issue was the pacing. It was very fast, great fight scenes, like a great way to sort of like amp it up after the introduction of issue 1, a great way to end issue 2. And this story is popping for me, man. And just the idea of having now John have to fight an evil version of his father is pretty fucking cool. Especially since it's the Injustice Superman, which so many people are familiar with from the games and the excellent series that Tom Taylor also wrote. So he's the best guy to be using this character because he sort of fleshed him out and made him into what, is arguably a very, big part of the DC multiverse now. It's not just a game character,
Yeah, I think that what I love too about this is, first of all, shout out to Clayton Henry because his faces are very expressive. Kind of as I'm flipping through it again, just like thinking of like Kevin Maguire, who we've talked about before. So I love the art. Tom Taylor wrote, I think it was 16 issues of Superman, Son of Kal-El. I think though, I almost like this better than what we were getting. Not to say that I didn't like that series. It was a very well written series, a lot of great character moments, but I like this better. I think that this progression from what we got from the series before to this is definitely cool. Just like even the comments of, look, he's like, he had to snap a lock made from a neutron star to get it. Dad's not going to be happy, so he's basically stealing this projector from his dad, and mentioning that. And, I have to say though, I think, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like the expectation of him fighting this evil Superman, I don't know necessarily that that's the route that it's going to go. I think that
Okay, I see what you're saying.
on surface that, yeah, it may seem that way, but if you look at the reaction that this evil Superman, and I wouldn't even call him evil, I would say like he's more of a dictator. I guess he is evil, whatever. I don't see, to me, Ultraman would be like the evil Superman. That's what I
Yeah,
consider.
yeah,
I
because
think
he's
this
sadistic. Yeah.
Right. I think this one, it's just like, no, he doesn't want anything to happen like what happened before. And yes, he has killed some of his fellow heroes, but I think he's been hardened because he lost the love of his life, right? And never got to see his baby born. So when he sees John in that last panel, also spoiler alert, and he's like, "You have your mother's eyes," and you see that the tear come down his face. That's why I think that, like, and maybe we will have a battle, whatever. But I think that it
Or
has the
maybe there's a
room.
redemption for him
That's what
in
I'm saying. Like, I have a feeling
I
like it
hadn't
could
thought
go
of it, but
that route.
that's a good route to take too, man. And Tom Taylor is a good enough writer that he's not going to give you expect. That's definitely something that Tom does,
Exactly. And he definitely pulls on heartstrings. I mean, I think it's evident with his Nightwing, right? And I think
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
evident with his Deceased, even though it's a fucking book about like zombified like DC characters, like there's a lot of heart to it. So I think that this has the potential to redeem that Superman. And maybe it doesn't go there. I mean, either way, I'm sure it's going to be a great book. But I think if it does go, that could be an interesting turn of events too, because it's not like it's going to affect. What's it going to affect? It's not like there's an Injustice book and now it's going to completely change the way that book is being written. It's like it's just another aspect of the multiverse, and maybe we could get another redemption series based on that Superman. But either way, I think that this is a great book, and I'm glad that, because you didn't pick up number one, so I'm glad that I made you pick up the the book, and that you dug it, because I think it's Tom Taylor is one of the
Yeah,
best
no,
writers DC
I
has.
totally dug it, man. And I'm on board. I'm adding it to my pull list. So
Well, that's awesome, Joe. I'm glad you dug it. I hope everybody that's listened to the episode with number one or watched, that you check it out. It's definitely one of DC's best books coming out. DC's got a lot of good stuff coming out, but I really love
yes,
everything
they
Tom
do.
Taylor's doing. I'll talk about Planet of the Apes, number one, under the new imprint of the 20th Century Studios. It's weird to see that logo on a comic book, but kind of cool that they're kind of trying to separate, Predator, Aliens, and I guess there's going to be room to maybe do more series based on the Fox movies. I don't know what else they would do, but I mean, I'm here for it. I'll check them out. I also was kind of mentioning that I think they should do that for Star Wars. I think they should rebrand. It shouldn't just have the Marvel logo on top. I feel like it should almost be just like a Star Wars logo, and then you do like
Yeah,
this, an association with Marvel, right? I don't know,
yeah.
just my opinion. But anyways, so this is by David Walker, who I'm a huge fan of. I love his writing. He's done a lot of great stuff with Marvel and DC. You have Dave Watcher as is the artist, Brian Valenza colorist, and Joe Caramagna is letter. So this is tied into, was it only a trilogy? Yeah, the most recent trilogy with the Planet of the Apes, the Matt Reeves stuff. So it takes place, it time jumps a lot, which is kind of interesting. But this is shortly after, or no, 2011 is when they're like doing the experimentations. They're talking about the virus kind of overtaking. And then obviously you have this, if you've seen the movie, you remember this scene on the Golden Gate Bridge in San
Yeah.
Francisco. And then it time jumps to, so I think it takes place, I can't remember the time frame of the first and second of the trilogy, but I believe this is in between one and two of those movies, because then it jumps to 2015 and you meet like this soldier, and they're capturing apes and stuff, and Exercise Viri, which is a militant group that are trying to kill the apes because the world is blaming the apes for the virus. There's also opposing groups that like, well, it's not the apes that did it, and then they, by the end of this book, they're also saying, well, like the apes, their immune system is able to fight it off, so that we can maybe get a cure for them. So it's a constant battle of like, some people are not against apes, and then there's this militant group that's trying to eradicate them from the planet. But it constantly jumps. So you have this like, I don't even think we get her name, dude, but it's this female soldier who's like, she's all about protecting them, and she's like communicating with them and stuff. And then it jumps to 24, so it keeps going back. It starts in 2011, then it jumps to 2015, then it goes to 2014, then it goes to 2013, and it just kind of builds in reverse kind of what what we're gonna get, I'm assuming, from the run. But it's crazy, dude. Like it's like what they're willing to do, like just blaming the apes, and it's like, and you talk about this virus overtaking the planet, and you're blaming the wrong person. I couldn't help but think of COVID, because they're calling
Yeah,
it
of course. Yeah, it's hard not to.
because they're calling it the simian flu, and obviously this movie came out before COVID, but it seems like there's similarities. They have this great double page spread of Caesar's group going after that exercise very militant group. Yeah, so just like, I mean, a lot of setup here. I feel like they're setting up this little girl who's this. It turns out to be this soldier, not a little girl, but a younger girl. I'm gonna read the second issue. I don't want to like. I
Okay.
know it doesn't sound like
So
I'm
it did its
super.
job, yeah.
Yeah, I know I don't sound like super excited, but for the most part, it just felt like a lot of buildup. I don't know what I was expecting. I just blindly bought it. I didn't look at the description of what we were getting in the series, but I like that the soldier is her name, yeah. And so she's like talking to the apes that are captured. I don't know if it's Caesar or not who she's talking to, but she's talking in sign language, and she's like, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." And then it has this final page, which is kind of what made me want to come back. And you close in, and he's like, and he's doing the sign language, "Apes protect apes." And then like, so I don't know, that kind of part like kind of like got me excited because I love the Planet of the Apes movies. So
Yeah,
I was pretty
they're good movies.
I was pretty stoked to see they were going to do a new comic, and especially the fact that they had David Walker writing.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
like
was a good
they're
pickup.
throwing good people at these projects, so
Yeah, they're definitely putting talent. I think we talked about, I don't you and I talked about it not that long ago. Oh no, I was talking about with my buddy Dylan, like when you have like lesser tier characters, put good talent on it. It's kind of the same thing with this. If you're going to do licensed properties, don't just put like some random person on it. If you want it to be good, make sure you're putting good talent. And I think that they did that with this book. And I think it's definitely, if you're a Planet of the Apes fan, definitely worth picking up. Definitely a lot of setup in this issue, but it seems like it's going to be a fun book. So
I'll have to check out some of those books because I have been curious about like the Alien and Predator books. Like I just haven't picked them up, but I'll have to dip into those because I mean, I love all those properties too. I'm a big fan. I mean, I have a bunch of Alien and Predator figures and shit in the fucking apartment. So
yeah, I mean, look, Philip K. Johnson wrote a lot of alien stuff. I think Declan Shalvey was writing some alien stuff. Ed Brisson was
yeah,
writing the Predator stuff. So yeah, they're putting some good talent. The artist
yeah,
Salvador LaRocca on art for aliens. Like
yeah. That was one that I was gonna pick up. Yeah,
yeah, so definitely they're definitely worth checking out, dude. I mean, Planet of the Apes, I'm probably more attached to than Alien and Predator.
yeah.
Just because I haven't seen all the Predator stuff, and I have not seen like all of Alien. I've seen like bits and pieces of Alien. Don't fucking hate on me, but like I have not watched those movies, so I don't know as much, So I
Yeah,
think that
not
that's
everybody has
yeah,
time to see everything, right? There's so much stuff out there,
yeah.
you know. So my next pick is going to be Cosmic Ghost Rider #2 by Stephanie Phillips. The art is by Juan Cabal. Cosmic Ghost Rider is one of my favorite characters of recent years, man. Like if you don't know who he is, he's basically Frank Castle, who was killed, became Ghost Rider. Then he also became the Herald of Galactus, and he has the power cosmic. Yeah, man, he's basically immortal, insane, has traveled to the multiverse and time, had a bunch of crazy adventures. At one point, helped raise baby Thanos after trying to kill him as a baby.
Lone
And
Wolf and Cub, yeah.
yeah, exactly. He's definitely a character that is something that you can use in different ways because he's such an out there character. And the previous issue sort of set him up as Frank's retired. He's giving up the mantle of the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he's living on an off-world planet, like working at a saloon, like very Western. And this issue continues that vibe because all these bounty hunters start showing up looking for Frank Castle. People trying to collect on past debts, people trying to get revenge, and it basically shatters this peaceful life he's had, forcing him to sort of reclaim the Cosmic Ghost Rider like identity and fight off some of these bounty hunters. What makes it interesting though, and like what the first book was kind of playing with, because he was having these dreams about Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he wasn't sure if it was him or not. Now we know for sure that there is another Cosmic Ghost Rider. So the big mystery is, who are they? why are they Cosmic Ghost Rider, and more importantly, what do they want? You know, so obviously these two roads are gonna like meet at some point. But I mean, this issue is great too, man. Part one was a great setup. This one continues the mystery, and I like that Stephanie Phillips is going for a slightly different vibe with this. It almost feels like a Star Wars book with the all the bounty hunters and like the intergalactic sort of like play between like the Shi'ar Empire is a big part of the story. So she's digging deep into some of Marvel's cosmic lore, and I like it, man. It's not just like a one note joke that Cosmic Ghost Rider could easily fall into. Like she's still finding humor in it, but she's also taking the concept a little bit serious, which is nice, and I like it. She's a great writer. She's great at bringing these sort of like side characters to life. And I'm glad that Marvel is doing something with Cosmic Ghost Rider because he's too cool a character to just leave sitting on the shelf. So again, it's a miniseries. I don't know how many issues it's gonna be, but I'm on board for all of it.
Yeah, I think I didn't pick up the second issue. Well, I didn't read the second issue. I mean, I read so many books last night, and
yeah,
I still have a huge pile of stuff that I brought home that I still have to read. But yeah, I think Stephanie Phillips is a great writer, and Wonka Ball is awesome. I loved him on Guardians of the Galaxy with Al Ewing. But
well,
yeah,
it has
it's a
that
great
vibe.
concept.
If you like Guardians of the Galaxy, I think especially that period, you're gonna like it because that's kind of the tone they're going for here. It's they're definitely trying to build the mythology of Cosmic Ghost Rider a little more and add more to him. I mean, I'm guessing he's going to become a bigger player when it comes to the cosmic side of Marvel, and that's cool, man. Marvel has a lot of cool cosmic characters, and Cosmic Ghost Rider would be a great addition to that pantheon of characters.
So my I don't know why I'm laughing at this, but my next pick is Hairball #1. So
I
like
almost picked that up, man. I
like
was on a budget,
on
but
first glance, like you look at that, you're like, oh, like what a cute cat, right? And then you see this fucking bitten off finger that's just chilling there.
it's like yeah, I didn't even notice
It's
that. Like after looking at that cover several times.
it's such a great, like there's something very simple in it, but it's definitely like gets the point across. Even like the logo, to me it looks like a ball of yarn that's like kind of taken off and made into the word hairballs. So anyways, Matt Kent, love him, dude. He's a great writer. We got Tyler and Hillary Jenkins on art, and basically all I knew about the concept of it was there's an evil black cat, and I'm like, okay, I'll pick that up. It's very interesting the way that this book was presented. It has a very cinematic feel to it, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So like
I flipped through it. It's very beautiful.
yeah, so it's like it starts with that, and obviously this is like a therapist, right? Like writing stuff down, and you just get the close up of the cat's eye and then both eyes and stuff, and it's all the main character is like this little girl, right? Parents have issues and stuff. I think the dad's kind of an asshole, and it goes back and forth, right? Like, and the therapist is asking questions. Yeah, it's narrated. I don't know who is talking, but it's like talking about like you can't pick your family. No child picks their parents. So maybe the better question would be if mom and dad could do it over again, would they have kept either one of us? So I don't know who this person is that's talking. Right there, little girl's like walking to the house. You see the cat, and then it's nighttime, and then it gets fucking weird. The little girl's sleeping. She's got this weird mark on her arm right here, and the cat
Okay.
just fucking bites. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it out of order. So right here, the cat just opens its mouth and just clamps down, dude, and bites, and then the blood goes down and leaves this fucking weird mark on her. But there's like no explanation. And then the cat just like walks off, just looking creepy throughout the book. This is like one of the most unnerving parts too. From the wound, these like worm-like things come out of the puncture marks and just crawl off and go under the bed. So I have no idea what the hell that is. But throughout, like I said, it's these constant pages of the little girl talking to the therapist, answering questions, and then you get the other opposite pages will be like the parents or the interaction with the cat, and it just goes back and forth. And the dad even like sees the mark, and this little girl's always sick too. There's always issues, and so the parents are like, "Well, you're the one that wanted a kid," like that's what the dad is saying. It's like, so it's obviously like a really I don't want to say volatile, but there's this toxic environment in the house, and to be honest with you, like I don't even know after reading it like where it's going, but it was great, dude. I mean, and this fucking cat, dude, just keeps like hacking up hairballs and leaves it in the dad's office and look at how evil this cat looks right here.
Yeah, I see it.
And the dad's like pissed. He's like, you goddamn cat, you ruined these. I'm gonna kill you. And the cat just looks back like, I don't give a fuck what you're saying, which is so typical of a cat. Like they just got that attitude. And he keeps leaving these hairballs everywhere, dude. And there's one part that's really fucking funny. Oh, so look, that leaves it on the divorce paper that's in the trash can. So obviously the parents are getting divorced, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't a therapist. Maybe it's this person that's asking, who do you want to be with? Or I think actually no, I'm sorry, yeah. So it's not a therapist. I think I thought it was a therapist because I didn't really pay attention to the fact that it said divorce paper on the paper. But obviously, like, well, who do you want to stay with? If you had to choose your mom or dad, and she doesn't choose, and then like, look at this hairball just comes to life.
I was gonna ask you if the hairballs come to life. I was like, yeah, that based on everything you were saying, I was like, it's gonna take that kind of. Yeah, yes. I wanted to pick that comic up, man. It's just like I can only grab so much this week because there was so much stuff.
Hacks it into the coffee too. So this cat is just a fucking piece of shit. All right, I'm gonna spoil this part, but at the end, the cat doing that in the coffee poisons the fucking dad, and the dad fucking falls over.
So it's like a murderous cat now.
Yeah. So look, I mean, even like what it says for next issue, as the young girl's black cat continues to plague her family with horror and tragedy, she decides she must take matters in her own hands to put an end to the feline's evil ways. She doesn't even know, but apparently, I'm assuming from that description, she's gonna know that this cat is responsible for all this evil shit going on. But it's just it was such a weird comic to the point where like I almost felt uneasy the entire time reading it, which I think is a good thing. I think that when you can read a comic like that, especially when it's a horror or a thriller type of story, sometimes when you're reading a comic or you're reading a book, it can fall flat, those moments. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Matt Kent and the Jenkins with the art too, like they killed it. It was a really entertaining book. It's a book that I want to continue reading. Very good. So definitely go pick it up if you're on the fence about it, especially if you like cats, because I think if you like cats, you'll enjoy this book.
Who doesn't, you know?
Yeah, it was really fucking funny just watching the cat's reaction, and just especially that one where he said, I'm gonna kill you, and the cat just like glares.
My next pick is the Amazing Spider-Man number 23. Continuing the story that we've been promised for a couple of years now as to what happened to Peter, that sort of turned his life upside down. And we had some revelations last issue, and when last issue ended, Peter was thrown back into the real world, leaving Mary Jane stuck in that weird limbo world, and he's trying to find a way to help her and get back. So who does he go to? Of course, he's going to go to his old friends, the Fantastic Four. I love it when Peter goes to the FF and the Baxter Building to do something, and because no matter who he interacts with, it's always going to be a great story. And in this case, he's got the Human Torch, he's got Johnny, and he's got Ben Grimm there. And again, that's a great trio right there. Mm. You see Peter desperately trying to get their help. What I loved about this issue was like the intensity of it and like the desperation that Peter is going through, and also the way that Romita Jr. draws him, like he's all fucked up and beat up. His face is like, like got bruises on it and shit. Like he hasn't had a time to stop and breathe because so much shit has been going on. So it's one of those stories where like Peter is like pushing himself like to the limit.
Well, I think what's important though, you passed over was the fact that he first goes to Aunt May, and that's when he realizes that's when he realizes that it's only been a day.
Yeah,
it's only been one day. You know what? That's where he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta go. I have to do this fast." And then you see fucking Norman Osborn comes in, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And like at this point, like he's not working for him yet.
Right. This is before all that. Yeah.
So even those, because I love this particular two panels when Norman puts his hand on Peter's shoulder and Peter just looks down at it like, "Get your fucking hand off me," kind of look.
Yeah, like that one right there. Yeah, I love that one too.
All right, you continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to like jump ahead.
No, that's an important detail that I glossed over. So yeah, he goes and he visits the Fantastic Four, and like he's trying to find a way back, and then at the end he runs into Captain America,
Oh,
And dude,
dude,
Peter is
the calf pages, dude.
like
Just so
the
good.
way Peter just so easily just like disarms Captain America just shows you how fucking pissed and like he's got no bullshit Peter. You know, I
He
love
all
this kind of Peter.
it also just shows you what he's really capable of and how much he holds back. I love when we get to see Spider-Man in this, or Peter in this
Yeah,
light,
dude,
where
he just
like
uses it. He just like pulls the shield off using his like fucking ability to stick to things and pushes it back on Cap. And like, I mean, Cap's holding his own, but like, it's you. He, I mean, look at that. Look at that panel when he like crushes Cap there. You know, like he
I love when he
pushes him
pulls the shield off, because look how Cap is just completely taken aback.
because people underestimate Peter because he's such a good guy. You know, like you said, he's constantly holding back. But it goes to show you, like, if he didn't hold back, he'd be able to rip through a lot of people very, very easily. You know,
Yeah.
like Peter holds back because he wants to. And then, of course, at the end, he finally goes in and is going to ask Norman Osborn for help because he's got, you know, pretty much no options. The FF couldn't help him. You know, Captain America wasn't able to do
Well,
anything.
yeah, and
So,
it's crazy too, because like the reason Cap is even there, and Peter finds out from Ben and Johnny, is that when he came back from that dimension, it was like two weapons of mass destruction had gone off. So like
yeah,
now they're, and then he buried his Spider-Man costume in the dirt, so they found that, so they're like blaming him, so he's a fugitive, and Cap's like, well, just come with me, and we'll get this. He's like, I'm on your side. Like, I know that this isn't you. It's not your fault. We'll get this. They're not going to come after you or do anything to you unless I give the say so, and I won't. And he's like, and I love that. And then he's like, but it'll take like a day or two. And that's when Peter's like, nope. Well, now I got to fight you. And like
yeah,
that's what is kind of funny in that interaction, is like he didn't want to fight Cap. Cap wasn't trying to fight him. Cap was on his side, but he had
yeah.
no
You know,
choice because
Cap's
he's a,
always going to be on Peter's side. You know, like he
yeah.
trusts and likes Peter.
Right. So I just think that part was kind of was very, I mean, Zeb Wells is killing it, dude, but like this issue was very well written. It was very fast paced, and
Yeah,
like, and it
that's the
just
thing I
shows.
noticed most was like how quickly I read it, but I'm not saying that in a bad way because like it felt like a chase scene almost,
Dude,
you know,
that's what
like
I felt last night too. I'm like, how did I read this book that fast? Like, I couldn't
you
believe, like,
know,
I felt like I'm like, I just opened it, but it was very like fast paced, and like it really, that lent itself to the fact that Peter's moving fast, like he's trying to go
yeah,
fast, so like, like that's why the story was
it's
moving
very
so quick.
cinematic and like the beats are very much like the like the second act or like the
Yeah.
third act of of a really solid movie where everything's moving fast, you
And to
know, and
see him make that
like
switch
even this
where,
page like just a narration, no time, don't get caught. They're looking for Spider-Man, so I get rid of Spider-Man, lose a costume, disappear. Faster, Peter, no time, keep moving, find help. Doctor Strange, wait, he's dead? You know what I mean? Like you're going through his thoughts. Like I love that writing, like just like pop, 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 pop. It's really, really cool, man.
yeah, and it's crazy because like in such a short amount of time, he was against Norman, didn't want to even see him, and then he
Yeah,
goes to
he's
him for
making
help.
some big decisions very quickly. That's a good point, you know,
Yeah,
because
so
of the intensity of what's going to happen. So like what you're starting to see is like Peter's life changed, and whatever happened so fast that he probably didn't even have time to really like deal with it. He just had to
yeah.
solve it, you know?
Yeah, he also realized like, okay, my friends, they're not gonna help me. I can't get
Yeah,
help from him. I guess I'll go to him. And I
yeah,
think it's cool because like as much as I love Green Goblin as a villain, seeing the two of them work together, because I think it's kind of been an interesting dynamic, because you can tell that even through this run, like Peter doesn't fully trust Norman, but
right.
he's kind of warming up to the idea, which lends itself to like eventually, do they go back at odds with one another, or is this the Norman that we could see for years to come, until I
Yeah,
guess I
until
guess
someone
he
else
lose yeah,
changes.
until somebody else changes it, because like it made sense what Nick Spencer did, and I'm glad that Zeb Wells has carried that baton forward. But it's just a fucking great issue. I can't wait. I mean, we got two more issues. Well, one more issue before the issue that reveals like what the hell
Yeah,
went
the big
down.
25 because this is issue 23, you know.
All
But I
right,
mean,
well,
I love it, dude. Spider-Man is on an all-time high right now. So
totally agree. All right, well, let's finish off with one of our favorite series, Savage Dragon, Eric
that's
Larson.
right, baby. Savage Dragon 265.
Yeah. So this, yeah, 263 was 264 the Paul Dragon one? It was, right? Last one was the Paul Dragon issue. Okay, so we had a break in between. So we're back to the beach with this it was that character that was like looked like Dragon's kid, but it's not, right? It was
No.
Dart. It's Dart's son, from what I read
Yes.
in the letters
Dark
page.
Sun
Yeah.
with I think a dragon from a different dimension. Back
Yeah.
when
So
like the merging of multiple worlds happened, like when that event was going on.
Jack Morelli letters, Nikos Koutsis on colors, Mike Torres on flats. I mean, I always love this issue. A lot of
Yeah,
great
man, I
stuff.
liked it too. Moving the story forward, like we finally have insect being found by one of Dragon's kids and his friend, and then trying to save her. Insect was the one that was raising that little boy that was Dart's son.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, a large amount of pathos, from the death of Insect. Like Lar- Larson is, he's got such a great cast of characters that he can do stuff like that, and it does feel impactful because, he's got a whole universe of characters and he's very good about like making deaths like feel important.
I think it's interesting
But
too,
that,
like that he was trying to or Jackson bit himself to try to heal her with his blood. I know it doesn't happen in the beginning, but I don't want to forget. Or does it? Yeah, it does happen in the beginning. I'm sorry, where you just see like he barely bites himself, and then that's how he's going to try to heal. You don't see it, but then like the interaction between Alex and Paul Dragon, like, oh, I'm just the consolation prize, and he's like, but then he reminds readers and stuff that maybe are newer that all the memories of all the fucking dragons, he knows everything they experienced, and that's kind of an interesting aspect of his character too, and how they want to basically adopt Billy.
yeah,
And just like where the issue ends up, it's like, well, spoiler alert for anything that's happening in this book, but Billy doesn't even make it past this issue.
no, no, he doesn't. Another death, and I gotta say the highlight for me was the fight between
Samurai.
yeah, with Samurai, yeah,
Yeah.
between Malcolm and Samurai. Like, I mean, uh, it's pretty brutal. I think it's like it's got some of the better layouts. Larson continues to play with his layouts and his panel borders. Like, the fight really sort of has a, what it reminded me a bit of. I mean, maybe I'm
Look at
reaching
that.
here, but
This
it
double
it
page, dude.
it reminded me of the fight between Marv and the weird like mute assassin in the original Sin City with Kevin, the guy that's keeping
Yes.
the you know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
know
The
who you're
guy that
talking
was
about.
played by Elijah. I don't know why I thought of that battle when I read this. Like, maybe it's because it's kind of out in the woods and the brutality of it, but I don't know. I got that vibe, and it's a good fight, man. I mean, like it definitely puts Malcolm to the test, and he doesn't hold back, man. And like some of the quips are funny. Dragon
Yeah.
is always great, man.
I know. I
Yeah, some of the
know.
quips, yeah,
Oh Jesus, that's not a pretty sight. You might want to get that looked at when
yeah,
you have the chance. Yeah, because she's like losing her clothes, or like, well, she's got nothing covering certain parts.
yeah,
That's all I'll say.
exactly. And they play along with that. But I do love that thread of her coming down and like chopping on that kid's head, man.
Oh yeah, dude, it's great. I mean, I love everything about this book. I mean,
Yeah,
we've said it now. This is 3 issues in a row. This has been a mutual pick of both of ours. Um, it's an awesome book. Like I love the little appearance by his version of Alpha Flight, North Force. We got one
yeah,
page there. We got Malcolm talking about wanting to take Youngblood's offer, and Youngblood, not the team, but an actual character called Youngblood, which I think is
young
kind
blood.
of fun.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
about being a part of their special operations strike force, and that's going to be, I believe, in San Francisco. And obviously, based on the
Yeah, so they were
solicitations,
talking about the rent in that one issue and stuff like that,
yeah. So,
how
based on the
expensive it would be to live
solicitations, we
there.
know that he's going. We know he's gonna be there. So he's coming back to the U.S. and he doesn't feel useful anymore because they got North Force. And even at the end, like he just keeps making comments about like, well, what's my purpose here? And Paul's like, well, just think of it as a vacation. And but he's not. He doesn't want to just do that. He wants to be a hero. He wants to do superhero
I like
shit.
how Paul is really sort of taking a fatherly role with Malcolm, and Malcolm seems to have accepted it. Like, like they're not each other's real father and son, but like still that's a version of your dad and a version of his son from a different world. So I like that they're they're really making them feel like a family unit. You know, like I love that Dragon has become sort of a family book in a weird, fucked up way. You know, because Dragon has so many kids, and you know, I mean, like it's sometimes it's played for laughs, but you know, sometimes you do see them come together as a family, and it's nice. You know, like it's a dynamic you don't see in a lot of superhero books. You know, where they really bring in the family aspect, and Larson will put that in there too, man. That's what makes Dragon such a great book. He's been doing it so long that he knows these characters in and out, so he can integrate all these aspects of it and make it a really just a kick-ass comic book, bro. That's the best way I describe Savage Dragon. It's a kick-ass comic book.
It is, and he just keeps like change. You know, like he constantly. I don't want to say like not constantly in the terms of like every couple months or every few months he's changing it, but he keeps the book fresh. You know, like the book.
Yeah, he challenges himself. You know, and he's very open about what he's doing with it. When he took, you know, when he was having a bit of writer's block and it wasn't coming out regularly, he was very vocal about that. Like he's transparent with his fans, which is something I always appreciate.
I know. Look, even in letters page, he talks about how he had COVID, so like he got a little behind or whatever. But like it's stuff like that. But he feels like he's back on a roll, and yeah, I love that. I mean, his letters pages, he's always got like backup stories too with like creators that you may not even be aware of. I don't know if this is like produced solely by these people or if he's hiring them to do it. But I like that, you know, and I like where the direction is going, you know, because like he's been in Canada since when Trump won. Now Trump's gone. He's coming back, you know, and he's gonna be a part of something different, and that just lends itself to have new characters come into the mix. Characters maybe we haven't seen in a while that didn't live in Canada, you know, like some of the old people that he was rolling with, right? Like there's a lot of room for some awesome stories to kind of take place now that he's gonna join this new strike force. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. But another great week, dude. I mean,
another great week, dude. I mean, like I was surprised by some of the books that came out because I hadn't really. Sometimes I don't look at solicitations, you know, and I just sort of go to the shop. So I did pick up Venom and Junkrabbit, which I haven't had time to read, but I've been enjoying Venom. So quick shout out to that. I don't doubt this will be another good one. And Junkrabbit just looked cool, so I'll let you know, Ryan, what I think about it. But I did pick up those too, so I picked up about 6-7 books this week, which is not a bad lot, man.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say how much I picked up. I'll say it. I picked up 20, I think, but four of those were that TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures. I never got them when they came out, so I ordered all four, and they all came in this week, so I picked those up too. But there was still a lot of new books that came out, so. But at least next week I'll have a little bit of a break. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's not even going to be 6 books for us to talk about if it's that small of a week. But I'm assuming we'll find something to talk about, like we always do.
We'll find something to talk about. We always do.
Yeah. So, hope you guys dug this episode. Go pick up those books we talked about. Make sure you come back next Friday when we're back with another episode of the weekly poll. Our social media links for Manny down below. Comic Lounge links as well down below. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
See you next week, guys.